Okay. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. So, in the last class, we were discussing about some of the foundational values of civil services. We'll continue with our discussion on that. Now, in the last class, we have already discussed about the value of empathy, compassion, sympathy. We have discussed about objectivity, and we have discussed about courage and fearlessness. Now, the next value that we'll be talking about is the value of tolerance. Value of tolerance. Very important value in present day times, especially when people are becoming way too aggressive at times. But what do we mean by tolerance? How do you define tolerance? Okay. Respect for nationality. Nationalism is tolerance. Online students, how do you define tolerance? You're correct. Respecting the views or giving the views or the opinions of same the equal respect as you would do to your own. And even though those views or those opinions may be conflicting to your own personal views and opinions, that is what is tolerance. Okay. So tolerance is nothing but giving respect to the views, opinions of others, even though they may be in conflict with one's own views. Someone is saying acknowledgement of differences. Someone is mentioning not overreacting in an irrational manner, as you mentioned, right? But proper definition of tolerance would be this: giving respect to the views and the opinions of the others, even though they may be in conflict with one's own views. Okay, there is a possibility that these views, beliefs may be different from the views or the opinions of the others, but you still give equal respect, and not just respect, but understanding the viewpoint of the other person, trying to understand the viewpoint of the other person as well, is what is tolerance. Okay, so that is what we need to understand by the meaning of the term tolerance. Now, what is the significance or importance of the value of tolerance in civil services in India? Significance or importance of tolerance in context of civil services, Indian civil services में tolerance का significance और importance क्या है? Yes. Why is it important to be tolerant as a civil servant? Okay, so one is that we have right to freedom of speech under the Indian Constitution. Everyone has right to express their opinions. And as a civil servant, it's one's duty to uphold this constitutional value of right to freedom of speech and expression. Fine. What else, ma'am? How does it upholds democracy? How does it promote democracy? Value of tolerance? won't you say the most important reason because of which tolerance is such an important value in India is because India is a multi-religious, multi-ethnic society with varying practices, traditions. People have different practices, traditions, rituals, beliefs in India. If you want to protect the unity in diversity and if you want to protect the diversity of this country, it's important to have tolerance as a civil servant. How else will you protect the diverse culture, the diverse ethnicity, the diverse traditions that we have in India if you do not develop tolerance? And in a society such as India, which is so vast, which is so diverse, tolerance becomes a non-negotiable value. It's a non-negotiable. For any civil servant, it is important that they should definitely be tolerant in nature, because how else will they be upholding the multi-religious, diverse culture that India possesses? Yes, what are the online students saying? While taking decisions, there may be conflicting interests. One needs to be tolerant because India is diverse with diverse culture, varying upbringing, values. See, you look at not just religions, okay? One religion may have a different way of treating certain things. Religious beliefs तो है ही हैं. इंडिया में ना केवल इंटर रिलीजियस डाइवर्सिटी है, इंट्रा रिलीजियस डाइवर्सिटी भी है. इंट्रा रिलीजियस डाइवर्सिटी भी तो है यहाँ पे, है ना? Because in India, within the religion itself, there are so many sects, there are so many communities, there are so many different beliefs. You go to some parts of the country, people would be burning Ravan. There will be some parts of the country where people would be worshipping Ravan, right? There will be some parts of the country where eating some kind of meat may be prohibited or may be considered as irreligious. In some parts of the country, it is not. So the point I'm trying to make is that in a multicultural, multi-religious society, tolerance becomes one of the most important values, especially for a civil servant if you want to protect the diversity and the culture of the country. So that is one. Yes, what else will help in? Yes, very good. What Giridhar Ramarao Chavan has mentioned, it will help in protecting the voices of the vulnerable and protecting them from the majoritarian view. As he has said that it will help protect the minorities in case of majoritarian dominance. So you can mention it is important because it will help, or it helps because it helps in giving a voice to the opinion of minorities, marginalized, and the backward sections of the society. Opinion of the marginalized. That is the second point that can be mentioned here. What else? Everyone has right to speech, so it is duty of civil servants to, so you can mention that as well. Helps in upholding the constitutional or the fundamental right to freedom of speech and expression under Article 19. And see, do remember that any kind of long standing view or opinion or a solution to a problem can only be achieved. Can only be achieved if there is tolerance and when there is acceptance of the views of the other. See, what you have to understand is tolerance basically means that you have your right to speak, I have my right to speak, and we may have differing opinion, diverging opinions, but we will still respect each other. That is what tolerance basically means. Now, tolerance as a value is very important in civil services or is very important in the Indian civil services context, especially because a long lasting solution to a problem, a long lasting solution to a problem can only be achieved through discussion, deliberation, and a consensus building approach. And a consensus and an approach to build consensus building approach. Your approach to problem solving should be to evolve a consensus. Not everyone is always going to be happy over decisions that you will take in civil services. But it's important that any decision is taken only after discussion and deliberation in a proper manner. Yes, helps in impartial decision making, you can mention that as well, helps in promoting welfare of the people, giving accountability. So these are some of the things that can be mentioned by you when you talk about the importance or significance of tolerance in civil services. Now, one question that we need to understand is, some people ask often that Indian society is intolerant in nature. What is your view? Do you think Indian society is intolerant in nature? Sorry? In some context. Ma'am, what do you think? Do you think that intolerance is on a rise in India? बहुत सारे लोग ऐसे बोलते हैं ना, intolerance is on a rise, Indian society is very intolerant. What do you think? Some bit, okay. Any online students who may want to have a take on this particular question, that is Indian society intolerant in nature? Do you think that Indian society is intolerant in nature? Yes. Some people are saying yes. Please बताइए, response दीजिए. Yes, to some extent. If you guys don't respond, I will not be able to take the class any further. To some extent, yes. See, if the question comes in the examination, try to write a balanced answer. Most importantly, if you look at in the recent times, yes, there have been instances where people have gone aggressive due to religion, due to ideology, due to caste. But it's not that this is a new phenomenon. When even two people are living in a house, there is bound to be a conflict and difference of opinions. But what is more important is that you put aside your differences and come together to resolve those differences. That is what is more important. The fact that Indian society and Indians have lived together, irrespective of differences in culture, irrespective of differences in religion, irrespective of differences in tradition, irrespective of differences in language, is a testament to the fact that Indian society is indeed a tolerant society. We as Indians or the Indian nationals to a large extent are tolerant in nature, and this can be seen from the fact that there are so many cultures and so many religions that have evolved in India. If India would not have been a tolerant society, then we would not have been having 2000 languages. We would not have been having multiple religions. All the religions in the country have been given an equal chance to progress and to thrive in this country. But yes, there are some threats that exist to tolerance in India. So let's discuss about some of the threats to tolerance in India. But in your answer, if the UPSC asks you this question, that what is your view of tolerance in the Indian society? Of course, Indian society is a tolerant society. There is no question about it. We have so many cultures, tradition, beliefs that continue to exist in India because India is a tolerant society. But there are threats to tolerance in Indian society that need to be checked. We need to overcome those. So please write down next heading, threats to tolerance in Indian society. Threats to tolerance in Indian society. So Aman is mentioning India is very accommodative, as is evident from the history. We accepted the rule of every foreign rule, but in recent times there have been evidences of intolerance. No, if it is intolerant, then such a diversity of people and culture would not have been existed in the society. Ashish is saying here we can show both sides. There is difference in our society, but it is also true that in India there is unity in diversity. So yes, what are threats to tolerance in India? See, first and foremost, you can talk about actions of political parties often put tolerance to threat in India, where political parties try to use religion, caste, beliefs in order to get petty political gains. They often use the plank of religion, they often use the plank of caste, community, etc. in order to get petty political gains for themselves. They try to polarize the population. So an attempts are made by the political parties to polarize the population, to polarize the common citizenry for their own vote bank politics, for their own benefits. So that is the first thing that you can be mentioning. Second, you can talk about social media is also emerging as a threat to tolerance in India, where fake news, clippings are circulated to disturb the communal harmony, to create outrage, to disturb communal harmony, to create outrage, etc. You can give examples of Muzaffarnagar riots. You can give example of so many instances where fake clips are circulated on the internet. Fake news is circulated on the internet or on the social media to divide the people. Then you can talk about the threat that exists to tolerance from the conventional media as well in India. So you can mention about threat to tolerance that exists from media, because a number of times media deliberately tries to manufacture outrage and to inflame the situation. Tries to manufacture outrage, inflame feelings, make people go ballistic. So that is also a threat that exists to tolerance, right? Fake news, of course, is something that can be mentioned. Fake news that is spread on TV news channels, fake news on social media, WhatsApp, Facebook, etc. are often used as tools to cause disturbance to public communal harmony in India, and therefore is a threat to tolerance that exists in the Indian society. So these are some of the threats to tolerance that can be mentioned by you that exist in the Indian society. Now, next aspect is how to inculcating tolerance among civil servants. inculcating tolerance among civil servants. What are the ways in which tolerance can be inculcated among civil servants? Yes, what do you think can be done? Batao. Providing exposure to different cultures, traditions, beliefs, etc. This can be done either through books, this can be done through field visits. You can give example of Bharat Darshan as an activity is also trying to inculcate tolerance amongst the civil servants. Future civil servants will be exposed to different ideas, viewpoints, opinions, etc. Yes, very good. Group discussions, encouraging a culture of debate. Encouraging a culture of debate, and we are not talking about the culture of debate that exists on some of the news channels. रिपब्लिक टीवी पे जो रात को 9 बजे होता है वो डिबेट नहीं होती, तमाशा होता है वो. Encouraging a culture of debate, discussions, so that people can put forth their views respectfully. Even though I may not agree to your view, but you put forward your view and your opinion respectfully. Right? Multicultural activities and programs which are conducted. Very good. तो आप देखोगे कि वहां पे लबासना में एक इंडिया डे मनाया जाता है, where the participants are supposed to showcase the culture, tradition, costumes from their part of the country. See, Dr. Ramchandra Guha says that India is like a salad bowl, where all the entities of a salad, all the components of the salad continue to maintain their different character, but despite that, we all are together as well. The tomato in the salad will complement the radish will complement the lemon will complement the lettuce will complement the salt and pepper, and so on and so forth, right? But yet each one of the components of salad maintains their own identity. Similarly, celebration of different festivals together, organizing cultural events. जो 26 जनवरी को झांकी होती है, tableaus are taken out. What is that? That is to showcase India's cultural diversity. Organizing cultural events, celebration of different festivals, cultural exchange programs between different parts of the country. Very good, right? That can also be mentioned. You can mention about organizing sports related activities. If there is one activity that makes people tolerant, is sports, because you learn that everyone can have a different way to approach a same problem. So organizing sports related activities, sports and sport related activities to encourage the spirit of esprit de corps, to encourage the spirit of team amongst the young civil servants. Right? These kind of things can be mentioned. What are the ways to inculcate tolerance among civil servants? Ways to encourage tolerance among civil servants. Now, the next value that we will be discussing, a foundational value of civil services, is dedication to public service. dedication to public service. Dedication to public service. Now, in this, of course, the first thing is we need to understand the meaning of the term dedication. Then, of course, the meaning of the term dedication to public service will become clear. How will you define dedication? थोड़ा तेज बोलो यार, तुम इतना धीरे क्यों बोलते हो? मैं सामने ही तो बैठा हूं, बोलो. Okay, complete focus and giving time and attention to an activity is dedication. Anything that you may want to add, ma'am? Can I say putting one's mind, body and soul into an act is dedication? We say dedication to God, right? When we dedicate ourselves to the God, when we pray in front of God, whoever the God may be, whichever religion you believe in, whichever part of country that you come from, when we dedicate ourselves to God, we put our mind, body and soul into the act of prayer. Right? Our mind is also there, our body is also there, and we try to put our soul also. That is what dedication is. Dedication is not but nothing, but it is basically when an individual completely dedicates his feelings, when a person dedicates his attention, time, will completely to a particular cause. That is what is called as dedication. Dedication to public service is nothing but basically putting your all energy, time, attention, your entire soul to the cause of helping the people and improving the status of their lives. Now, what you need to remember is, in dedication, it should not be something that should be external. Dedication to public service or dedication to anything should not be external, should not be because that you have a job that you should do so. Because your boss is asking you to come to the office on time, or because your boss will remove you from the job. That is not what should be the meaning of dedication to public service. Because when you are in public service, anyway your removal is very difficult. You are appointed for a lifetime. Removal is a very difficult thing. Very few IAS officers or IPS officers or civil servants are ever removed or dismissed from the service. That means that you are there for life. Now, if you will not have dedication towards public service, and if this is not something which is internal, comes to you naturally, then at some point of time your boss will also stop telling you. Boss will say कि यार ठीक है, ये काम नहीं करता, ज्यादा कुछ इससे एक्सपेक्ट कर भी नहीं सकते, इसको निकाल भी नहीं सकते सर्विस से, तो आपको सर्विस में इग्नोर करना शुरू कर देंगे. You will fail to achieve the purpose with which you have joined the service if you are not dedicated to the cause of public service. Yes, online students, doing something with full capacity, commitment, determination to an activity, giving 100%, putting one's soul into an act, right? Complete devotion and faith where you wholeheartedly give your time and energy to something. So you please write down meaning of dedication to public service. Dedication is the quality. Dedication is the quality. Dedication is the quality of being able to give, is the quality of being able to give or apply one's time, is being able to give or apply one's time, or apply one's time, attention or self, entirely to a particular activity, comma, cause, or an objective, Full stop. It is commitment with passion and personal urge. It is commitment with passion and personal urge to do something without any external force, without any external force or power to enforce that urge. To enforce that urge. So dedication is something that should come from within a person. Okay, without any external force or any external power to enforce that urge to do something, that urge to dedicate yourself to the cause of God or the cause of public, whatever it is called as dedication. So you now write down dedication to public service. Dedication to public service refers to committing oneself to the cause of the public, and perseverance to serve the public interest, and perseverance to serve the public interest despite obstacles and challenges. Despite obstacles and challenges. Now, why is dedication to public service so important, or why is it so significant? Why is it so significant, or what is the importance to the civil services? Significance of dedication to public service for a civil servant. Importance. Why is it important? Why is dedication to public service important? Okay, so the purpose of getting into the service or getting into the job of a civil servant itself is to serve the people. If you don't have dedication to public service, then what is the point of being a part of the service? You can write that. So, the very purpose of civil services is to improve the lives of people, to contribute to the society, which would get defeated in case there is no dedication to public service. The entire purpose of being a part of the civil services would get completely defeated. Second, of course, someone is mentioning to deal with adverse situations. See, when you will be in service, there will be so many times when you people will face adverse situations. You will face challenges. You will find that there are no resources. You will find that your boss does not support you. जब आप लोगों के सामने जाओगे तो लोग भी आपको गाली निकालेंगे. समझ रहे हैं? पुलिस वाले की जॉब इसीलिए इतनी मुश्किल क्यों होती है? आपको आपका बॉस भी गाली निकालेगा, वो बोलेगा ढंग से काम नहीं करता. पॉलिटिकल मास्टर पॉलिटिशियन इज एनीवे नॉट हैप्पी, क्योंकि आप हफ्ता वसूल करके नहीं दे रहे हो टाइम से, और उसका पॉलिटिकल पार्टी का चंदा कैसे चलेगा जब तक आप उसको हफ्ता वसूली नहीं करके दोगे. पुलिस, लोग वैसे ही परेशान हैं आपसे, लोग तो आपको वैसे ही करप्ट समझते हैं. People consider you good for nothing. People consider you as extortionist anyway, if you are in police. So, to deal with adverse situation and challenges, a person needs to have inert motivation, needs to have the inner urge to do work for the people. If that inner urge is not there, then at some point of time, you will find it difficult to deal with these difficult situations and challenges. There are so many examples that you can give. You can give example of Pame Armstrong. He wants to build a road in Manipur from Tosem to Tamenglong. Tosem is actually one of the subdivisions of Tamenglong district. He belongs to Tamenglong district. Okay. And I've been in close touch with him for last 6-8 months since COVID. I've been doing some work along with him, and he keep sending me these videos that look at the kind of road connectivity that exists between Tosem and Tamenglong. रोड ही नहीं है, लिटरली. एक बार जीप गई तो इनको हाथी को बुलाना पड़ा जीप को पुल करने के लिए, लिटरली. दैट्स द सिचुएशन. मेरे को पहली बार पता चला कि मणिपुर में हाथी भी होते हैं. समझ रहे हो? सो एंड देन देयर आर नो फंड्स. ही वांट्स टू बिल्ड अ रोड बट देयर आर नो फंड्स दैट आर अवेलेबल. Dedication to public service is what led him to a situation where he decided no funds, no problem. I will raise funds from the people. I will ask people to contribute, and we will create a road out of the money which the people contribute for creation of that road. This is what is dedication to public service. When you are dedicated to public service, you have the willpower to overcome even the most adverse, difficult circumstances and situations, which you may not be able to do if you are not dedicated to public service. See, the other reason why dedication to public service is also required is to always put public interest over one's own interests. जब तक आप में डेडिकेशन टू पब्लिक सर्विस या पब्लिक कॉज नहीं होगा तो आप हमेशा अपने इंटरेस्ट को लोगों के इंटरेस्ट के ऊपर या नेशन के इंटरेस्ट पे या पब्लिक के इंटरेस्ट पे रखेंगे. यू हैव अ फ्रेंड हु इज इन सिविल सर्विसेज, हु इज योर जूनियर. ही हैज बीन एम्ब्रॉयल्ड इन अ करप्शन केस. If you will be dedicated to public service and if the act of your junior has caused damage to the public interest, you will want him to be given the strictest of the punishment despite that person being your closest friend. But if you are not dedicated to the cause of public service, you will put your friendship and your love for your friend over and above the public interest, and that is where the public interest would get compromised. So dedication to public service is important so that you can always be looking for serving the public interest even at the cost of your own private interest. That will only happen when you are dedicated to public service, right? So that is another thing that can be mentioned. और देखते हैं online students क्या कह रहे हैं. Helps to serve the vulnerable, bring out the best of yourself to get that sense of satisfaction despite other pressures of the post. Lot of discretionary powers. Yes, very good. That is also something which can be mentioned. यहां पे इसी के साथ में आप ये मेंशन कर सकते हो that civil servants enjoy wide discretionary powers. If you are not dedicated to the cause of public service, then there is a possibility, high possibility, that you will always end up misusing these powers for your personal gains over the gains of the public, over the gains of the society. So that is the other reason that can be mentioned. Very important. Priya is mentioning that if a person is dedicated to public service, then as a civil servant, that person will always be motivated to work on his own rather than enjoying work as a burden. Instead of enjoying work as a punishment, you would enjoy your work. And only when you enjoy your work, only when we put ourselves completely in the work that we are doing, are we able to achieve success? Are we able to achieve the desired objective? So what can be also mentioned by you is that without this value, a civil servant will eventually रन आउट ऑफ मोटिवेशन. जिंदगी में कभी ना कभी तो मोटिवेशन आपकी खत्म हो जाएगी, इसमें कोई डाउट नहीं है. मोटिवेशन इज ओनली वेरी लिमिटेड, राइट? और एक्सटर्नल मोटिवेशन तो जो है ना, वो इट्स लाइक ओपियम. यू कैन गेट यूज टू इट, बट द मोमेंट यू टेक इट ऑफ, then the person goes mad. Without external motivation, काम करने की motivation होनी चाहिए. That is what dedication to public service ensures, right? What else has been mentioned? Efficiency का mention कर सकते हैं. Example, will drive the civil servant to fulfill his compassion. That is also something that can be mentioned. एक point और लिख लीजिए, just write down one point. A civil servant encounters several social obstructions in the implementation of a program. A civil servant encounters several social obstructions in the implementation of a program. In such situations, without dedication to public service, one may never be able to achieve the desired objectives. One may never be able to achieve the desired objectives. अब इसका एग्जाम्पल देखिए, जो मैं लास्ट पॉइंट कह रहा हूं, कि ना केवल आपको बहुत सारे पॉलिटिकल हर्डल्स और चैलेंजेस फेस करने पड़ेंगे, बट यू एज अ सिविल सर्वेंट विल फेस वेरियस सोशल हर्डल्स एज वेल. कल मैंने आपके साथ एग्जाम्पल शेयर किया था, डीएम गोपालगंज. ही कम्स अक्रॉस अ सिचुएशन दैट पीपल इन माय डिस्ट्रिक्ट, children are not eating the midday meals that have been cooked by a Dalit cook. अब ये सोशल ऑब्स्ट्रक्शन है. आप फैमिली प्लानिंग का प्रोग्राम इंप्लीमेंट करना चाहते हैं, यू वांट टू इंट्रोड्यूस द प्रोग्राम ऑफ फैमिली प्लानिंग, बट यूजुअली सोसाइटी में फैमिली प्लानिंग जैसे इनिशिएटिव्स को लेकर, वैक्सीनेशन को लेकर, you will always face problems. There will be people who will always be anti-vaxxers, who will not be agreeing to, or who will be reluctant to get vaccinated. पढ़े लिखे लोग, अनपढ़ लोग भी, पढ़े लिखे लोग भी, हर तरीके का लोग जो है वो आपको एक सोशल या रिलीजियस ऑब्स्ट्रक्शन ले आएंगे. वो बोलेंगे नहीं, हमारे रिलीजन में बोलते हैं कि ऐसा नहीं कर सकते, हमारे रिलीजन में ऐसा नहीं कर सकते, हमारे कम्युनिटी में ऐसा नहीं होता है, हम वैक्सीनेशन नहीं लगवाएंगे, हमें डर लगता है, गलत है, सरकार हमें जानबूझ के ये वैक्सीनेशन लगा रही है जिससे कि हम इंपोर्टेंट हो जाएं. इस तरीके की चीजें बोलेंगे लोग. नाउ यू विल नेवर बी एबल टू इंप्लीमेंट अ प्रोग्राम in the face of this social obstruction and social hurdles until and unless you are dedicated to the cause of public service, because only when you will be dedicated to the cause of public service will you reach out to the people individually. बहुत बार, बहुत इंस्टांसेस में ऐसा हुआ है. अभी recent cases में I know of so many civil servants, IAS officer, those who said that there was a lot of opposition to vaccination, and then we had to personally reach out to people on our individual capacity, religious leaders, social leaders, the elders in the society. We had to convince them. Now their job profile is not saying so, कि आपको इतने घंटे काम करना है। कोई एक सिविल सर्वेंट के प्रोफाइल में थोड़ा लिखा होता है 9 से 5 काम करना है। आपका मन है 9 से 5 काम करना है, 9 से 5 काम कीजिए। आप डीसी हैं जब डिस्ट्रिक्ट के, तो आप वहां के राजा हैं। आपसे कोई पूछेगा नहीं आके कि आज तुमने 6 घंटे काम क्यों किया, आज 9 घंटे क्यों नहीं काम किया। दिस इज नॉट अ प्राइवेट जॉब। आप 2 घंटे भी काम करेंगे तो भी कोई पूछने वाला नहीं है। आज साहब आए हैं ऑफिस में बैठे हैं, किसी से नहीं मिल रहे, नहीं कर रहे, उनका मन। और ऐसी काम चोरी प्रमोट होती है सर्विस में। इफ यू आर नॉट, बिकॉज एक्सटर्नल पुश नहीं मिलने वाला आपको कोई, इट हैज टू बी फ्रॉम विद इन। व्हेन यू आर डेडिकेटेड टू द कॉज ऑफ पब्लिक सर्विस, दैट इज व्हेन यू विल डिसाइड कि नहीं यार आज फील्ड विजिट करते हैं। आपके कोई एजेंडा में लिखा नहीं है, कोई प्रिस्क्राइब्ड रूल्स नहीं है कि रोज इतनी फील्ड विजिट्स ही करनी है, रोज इतने कॉल्स ही अटेंड करने हैं, रोज इतने लोगों से मिलना है कि नहीं मिलना है। वो ये नहीं कहता कि 6 बजे आप घर जाइए कि नहीं जाइए। यू विल फाइंड सिविल सर्वेंट्स दोज विल बी वर्किंग राउंड द क्लॉक। 10 बजे भी रात को उनको फोन आएगा, रात के 2 बजे भी फोन आएगा, तो दे विल रश टू द सीन एंड दे विल ट्राई टू प्रोवाइड हेल्प. So because of the adverse circumstances, difficult circumstances, challenges, obstacles that the civil servants face in the wake of their duty, it is important that they are dedicated to the cause of public service, because if they are not dedicated to the cause of public service, it would eventually lead to a situation where they will run out of motivation at some point of time and will never be able to achieve the desired objectives. Right? So this is the importance or significance of dedication to public service as a value for civil services in India, if UPSC asks you a question on the same. ठीक है? और पब्लिक लाइफ में आपको मल्टीपल एग्जाम्पल्स मिलेंगे डेडिकेशन टू पब्लिक सर्विस के, मल्टीपल people going all the way out of their way in order to dedicate themselves. I'll give you one example. One SDM from Rajasthan, SDM from Tonk, who I was speaking to during the COVID. She, very young officer, 2018 batch officer or 17 batch officer. When I visited her office in Tonk and I was talking to her staff told me कि मैडम जो हैं रोज सुबह 9 बजे विदाउट फेल ऑफिस आ जाती हैं. जब उनका बेटा बीमार था, जब उसको कोविड था, तो तब भी आती थी 9 बजे. और जब उनके हस्बैंड को कोविड हुआ, he was hospitalized, then also she would turn up at office 9 o'clock every day, irrespective of whatever is happening back home. She would always be there on duty because she realized, and I asked her that your husband was not keeping well, your son was not keeping well, you could have taken an off. She said that what would have happened to my district, what would have happened to my subdivision if I would have taken an off? My staff would not have been motivated if I would not have been there, so I had to be there. One another officer was posted as the district development officer of Pithoragarh district. Now, she was going to office every day during COVID despite having an 11-month-old son at home, where she knew that I am putting my son, my husband, myself at exposure to COVID, and there is a possibility that they may also get infected because I am going to office every day. But she continued to do so. Lactating mother continues to do so because dedication to public service. Your cause to the public service and serving the public interest is much larger than any personal interests that are involved in having this job. So, see, the point that you need to mention in your answer is also that civil service is not just another ordinary job. It's not like a private job कि 9 बजे गए 5 बजे वापस आ गए, खत्म काम, अब हमारा क्या लेना देना. Civil servant, a job of a civil servant, a job of a civil servant is a 24/7 job, and the will to continue working for so long can only happen when you people have dedication to public service. ये कभी आ सकता है जब अंदर से आएगा, आपको कोई फोर्स करेगा तो कुछ नहीं हो सकता. 24/7 जॉब है ये, राइट? I was talking to one of my friends who's in Indian Foreign Services. She told me that she was posted in Paris. I visited Paris 1.5 years back. was hosted by her. So I was asking her that, how is your work-life balance and everything, and she said that, see, a lot of times it happens कि यहाँ पे पेरिस में 3 बजे होते हैं, सुबह इंडिया के अंदर 8:30 बज चुके हैं, 5.5 hours difference is there. पेरिस में 2:30 बजे हुए हैं, सुबह 8 बज चुके हैं. Prime Minister has woken up. His office is full and up and running and firing things here and there. And there will be a lot of times that request will come from the Prime Minister's office or from the Ministry of External Affairs. External Affairs Minister would themselves send a message to the embassy here that I need this note, that I need this document. प्राइम मिनिस्टर के ऑफिस से प्रिंसिपल सेक्रेटरी का फोन आया है रात के 2:30 बजे कि ये डॉक्यूमेंट भेजिए, ये नोट प्रिपेयर करके भेजिए, प्राइम मिनिस्टर को स्पीच देनी है, फ्रांस के बारे में मेंशन करना है, राफेल के बारे में कुछ कोई भी इशू आ गया कहीं भी. नाउ यू कांट से एट 2:30 इन द नाइट कि मेरे तो यहां पे 2:30 बज रहे हैं, मैं अभी सुबह 7 बजते 8 बजते तो मैं आपको भेजती हूं. तब तक प्राइम मिनिस्टर विल टेल यू कि प्लीज इनको हटाओ यहां से, आई डोंट वांट देम. द पॉइंट आई एम ट्राइंग टू मेक इज दैट a civil servant's job expects you to be dedicated to the job and to your service 24/7 round the clock, irrespective of whatever the situation is. That is what a civil servant is expected to do, right? Now the next thing is how to inculcate dedication to public service in a civil servant. So please write down inculcation of dedication to पब्लिक सर्विस. अब देखिए ये बहुत मुश्किल है इस वैल्यू को इनकलकेट करना. आप ऑनेस्टी इनकलकेट कर सकते हो लोगों में एक स्ट्रिक्ट लॉ लाकर, बट आप डेडिकेशन टू पब्लिक सर्विस नहीं कर सकते. आप किसी को मार के काम नहीं करवा सकते. आप किसी से करप्शन रुकवा सकते हो उसको डर बिठा के उसके दिमाग में. आप क्या डर बिठाओगे किसी आदमी के दिमाग में एज फार एज डेडिकेशन टू पब्लिक सर्विस इज कंसर्न? सो प्लीज राइट डाउन ways to inculcate dedication to public service in civil servants. First, reward and recognition. Reward and recognition for dedicated officers. Reward and recognition to reward and recognition to dedicated officers, to the best performing officers, to the best performing officers, so that it will encourage even the other officers to work hard. Reward, recognition, ठीक है, पहला चीज. दूसरा, regular training sessions to sensitize the civil servants. Regular training sessions to sensitize. Conducting regular training sessions to sensitize civil servants towards the challenges faced by the citizens. Exposing them to the challenges faced by the citizens. That is one of the ways in order to ensure dedication to public service. इसके अलावा क्या मेंशन कर सकते हैं? वॉलंटियर संडेज, वॉलंटियर डेज होते हैं बहुत बार some officers will organize volunteer days or volunteer Sundays, where even on Sundays you will find civil servants will organize some kind of a grievance redressal meeting, etc., and so on and so forth, where they will take up one particular cause on that particular day, and civil servants will voluntarily give their time to that particular cause or that particular issue. So volunteer Sundays could be one innovative method. और क्या हो सकता है? प्रमोशंस, रिकॉग्निशन, रिवॉर्ड्स, ओके ठीक है, वो उसमें आ गया. और बताओ what else? How can dedication to public service be brought in into the civil servant? See, you can talk about teaching civil servants or training them through inspiring stories and examples. Inspiring stories and examples of civil servants in the past. आप लोगों को बताइए किस तरह की डेडिकेशन रही है पास्ट में सिविल सर्वेंट्स की. आप लोगों को ट्रेन कीजिए, सेंसिटाइज कीजिए, उनको इन्फॉर्म कीजिए हाउ वेरियस सिविल सर्वेंट्स इन द पास्ट हैव पुट देयर ड्यूटी or have put the public interest over and above their personal interest. Yes, online students. Any other ways in which dedication to public service can be inculcated in civil servants? लिख दिया, by exposing them towards the challenges faced by the citizens. Empathy लेके आना, compassion लेके आना उनके अंदर. Yes. Or political transfers and promotions. Okay, you can mention that, but वो तो हर चीज में मेंशन कर सकते हैं. और डेडिकेशन टू पब्लिक सर्विस के लिए कुछ डेडिकेटेड पॉइंट्स बताइए, कुछ स्पेसिफिक पॉइंट्स बताइए. हाउ डेडिकेशन टू पब्लिक सर्विस कैन बी प्रमोटेड इन सिविल सर्विसेज. You will have to think of examples. You will have to find examples from real life. ये काम मैं नहीं करूंगा आप लोगों के लिए, ये आप ही का काम है. Emoluments on great performances. Okay, very good. So you can mention performance linked appraisal. Performance linked appraisal. The way it happens in the private sector. You perform, you get better promotions. Right? Performance linked appraisals, promotions, reward, recognition वगैरह में ही आ गया. Right? थ्रू गीता एंड अदर रिलीजियस बुक फ्रॉम हिस्ट्री. ठीक है, चलो ये भी मेंशन कर सकते हैं, है ना. गिविंग टारगेट्स. यस, वेरी गुड. सेटिंग ऑब्जेक्टिव टारगेट्स. जैसे प्राइवेट सेक्टर में केआरए और केपीआई सेटअप किया जाता है किसी भी आदमी के लिए, की परफॉर्मेंस इंडिकेटर्स एक्सेट्रा, उसी तरीके से आप सिविल सर्वेंट के लिए भी केआरए और केपीआई सेट कीजिए, सो दैट दे आर ऑल्सो डेडिकेटेड टू द कॉज ऑफ पब्लिक सर्विस. वेरी गुड. फीडबैक about the performance of the civil servant that can also get them motivation, right? So वो सब चीजें आप mention कर सकते हो. Now let's move to the next foundational value of civil services, and that is impartiality and non-partisanship. Impartiality and non-partisanship. Now both these values are actually used interchangeably with each other a lot of times, but there is a difference between the two. पहले बात तो ये बताओ कि ब्रॉडली इन दोनों वैल्यूज का क्या मतलब है. सॉरी, व्हाट इज impartiality and non-partisanship? So not being biased, not using your personal dispositions or personal preconceived notions while taking action. That is what impartiality and non-partisanship are. But see, both these terms have a slight difference in each other. Okay. So you please write down meaning of impartiality. Meaning of impartiality. It refers to the act of, it refers to the act of not supporting one person or a group. It refers to the act of not supporting one person or a group over the other. Refers to the act of not supporting one person or a group over the other. In simple words, full stop, in simple words, it means not taking any sides. In simple words, it means not taking any sides. Not taking any sides. In simple words, it means not taking any sides. Full stop. Essentially, it means taking decisions on the basis of merit, without any personal biases and prejudices. Without any personal biases and prejudices. ये है impartiality का मतलब. अब लिखिए meaning of non-partisanship. There is, even though both these terms are interchangeably used with each other, but there is a slight difference between the two. Impartiality is being non-biased, is being unbiased at all the times, is taking decisions on the basis of rationality, not using your own predispositions and preconceived notions while making a decision. आपके पास हिंदू आए, मुसलमान आए, दलित आए, ब्राह्मण आए, कोई भी आए, your approach will always be the same. You will not look at a person on the basis of the color or the caste or the religion or the sex of the person. You will be taking decision without any kind of such biases. That is what is called as impartiality. Now please write down about non-partisanship. 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 It refers to not having any personal political ideology. It refers to not having any, it refers to not allowing the personal political ideology. It refers to not allowing the personal political ideology to come in the way of taking decisions. To come in the way of taking decisions. A civil servant is expected to remain politically neutral. A civil servant is expected to remain politically neutral and implement the policies irrespective of who is in power. Full stop. Please write down, even though impartiality and non-partisanship are used interchangeably with each other, comma, impartiality has a special meaning. Impartiality has a special meaning that connotes a political behavior, that connotes a political behavior by a civil servant. That connotes a political behavior by a civil servant. See, a civil servant is expected to be politically neutral. It is important for any civil servant to show the value of political neutrality. The reason for that is, if you are not politically neutral, then you will either be too eager to implement the policy of one government, and you will be too reluctant to implement the policy of one government in power. But as a civil servant, civil servants are permanent, whereas political parties come and go. Political parties come and go. Civil servants are permanent. Therefore, it is important that civil servants exercise their power in such a way that it is irrespective of who is in the power. Because see, the problem with not being politically neutral is also that then you will be associated with one political dispensation. So when the opposition party will come into power, then what will you do? You are seen as a man of BJP. When Congress will come into power, then you will face problems. You are seen as a man of Congress. When BJP will come into power, then you will be in problem. You as civil servants are always expected to remain politically neutral. You are expected to show political neutrality irrespective of whoever is in power. One of the reasons for that also is civil servants in India have the role of policy implementation. There is no doubt that they play a very crucial role in policy formulation as well. But the classic theory of relationship between civil services and the politicians suggests that policy implementation is supposed to be done by civil services and policy formulation should be done by the political executive. अब political executive जो भी policy बनाएगा, ये आपकी responsibility है as a civil servant to implement that policy. Why? Why is it important to implement the policy made by the political executive irrespective of whatever you think about that policy? Yes, because political executive has been elected by the people. आपका इलेक्शन जो है लोगों ने नहीं किया है. Political executive has been elected by the people. He is reflecting the will of the people. And what is democracy but will of the people? तो ये आपकी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है कि आप लोगों की इच्छा को इंप्लीमेंट करें. अब आपका पर्सनल व्यू हो सकता है कि बीजेपी की पॉलिसी खराब है या कांग्रेस की पॉलिसी खराब है, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. यू मे हैव अ पर्सनल व्यू that this policy by BJP is wrong or this policy by the Congress is wrong, but it does not matter. Your responsibility as permanent executive or as a civil servant is to implement the policy irrespective of whatever bias that you have. Now see, there is one more question that comes to our mind. Can a civil servant be completely politically neutral? The answer is no. आपका पर्सनल आइडियोलॉजी होगा. देखिए, आप भी तो सिटीजन हैं, आपका भी पर्सनल ओपिनियन है, आपकी भी पॉलिटिकल ओरिएंटेशन हो सकती है. यू मे लाइक बीजेपी, यू मे डिसलाइक देम, यू मे लाइक कांग्रेस, यू मे डिसलाइक देम. यू हैव योर पर्सनल चॉइस, यू हैव योर पर्सनल ओपिनियन, बट you should not let your personal political bias come in front of your job. आप अपनी जॉब के साथ अपने पर्सनल पॉलिटिकल बायस को इंटरफेयर करने के लिए अलाउ नहीं कर सकते हैं. That is what is the least which is expected of a civil servant. You are always expected to be politically neutral. Because if you will be politically charged, then whenever the opposition will come into play, then you will never be able to do your work. Right? So please write down importance or significance of impartiality and non-partisanship. Importance and significance of impartiality and non-partisanship. First, it helps in maintaining trust of the people. It helps in maintaining trust of the people in the bureaucracy. लोगों को हमेशा ये भरोसा रहेगा कि यार कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, चाहे जो मर्जी आ जाए, ये लोग हमेशा पब्लिक इंटरेस्ट में ही काम करेंगे. It helps in maintaining trust of the people in democracy. Second, civil servants enjoy wide discretionary powers. वही जो हम बात पहले भी किए थे. Civil servants enjoy wide discretionary powers. And they should be used only in public interest. And they should be used only in public interest. And they should be used only in public interest. Third, it helps in upholding the value of civil services neutrality. It helps in upholding the value of civil services neutrality. Next, only when a civil servant is non-partisan, only when a civil servant is non-partisan, only when a civil servant is non-partisan, can he or she show courage to suggest alternative policies to the ministers. Suggest alternative policies to the ministers. Suggest आपके पास जब पॉलिटिकली न्यूट्रल होगे तभी तो आपके पास करेज होगी कि आप पॉलिटिशियन को बोल सको कि सर देखो मैं तो पॉलिटिकली न्यूट्रल हूं, पर मैं आपको सजेस्ट कर रहा हूं कि ये ठीक नहीं है, आप इसका ऑल्टरनेट पॉलिसी इंप्लीमेंट करने के लिए बोलिए, या आप इन ऑल्टरनेट पॉलिसी सोचिए, दैट विल बी बेटर फॉर पब्लिक इंटरेस्ट. Only when you are politically neutral do you have that courage. Next point. Transformations in society cannot be introduced with a biased mind. Next point लिखिए. India is a diverse society. With varying interests and therefore civil servants are expected to be neutral are expected to be neutral while implementing the policies. Are expected to be neutral while implementing the policies. Right? Now, क्लियर है क्यों इम्पार्शियलिटी और नॉन पार्टिसनशिप इज द बेडरॉक. देखिए एक चीज ध्यान रखिएगा दैट पीपल विल come and go, politicians will come and go, and that is what is reflecting the true will of the people. In a democracy, if civil services will not be neutral, then the wishes of the people will never be carried out, because government will change and आप government के साथ चलने को तैयार नहीं हो, आप अपना ओपिनियन चेंज करने को तैयार नहीं हो. So that basically means that you are disrespecting the opinion or the views or the mandate of the people. Right? Now, please write down how to inculcate. Inculcation of value of neutrality and impartiality and non-partisanship or whatever. First, creation of Civil Services Board, creation of Civil Services Board to decide appointments and transfers. Creation of Civil Services Board to decide appointments and transfers, so as to make them politically neutral. So as to make them politically neutral. 2013, Supreme Court of India, in a case called as CSR Subramaniam versus Union of India, had issued guidelines to the center and the states to create a civil services board to make the process of appointments and transfers in civil services politically neutral. So you can give example of that. Next. An objective criteria should be adopted. An objective criteria should be adopted while deciding promotions. An objective criteria should be adopted while deciding promotions in government services. Third, minimum duration of postings and a fixed tenure for important appointments and a fixed tenure for important appointments and posts. ठीक है? They should not be scared that हम 6 महीने अभी आए और अभी हमें ट्रांसफर कर दिया जाएगा. They should be allowed to take bold decisions. That will only happen. Civil servants bold decision तभी ले सकते हैं जब वो impartial और neutral हो, जब वो non partisan हो. Right? Next, mandatory cooling off period. Mandatory cooling off period for civil servants resigning from the job. Mandatory cooling off period for civil servants resigning from the job. Recent past, there have been instances of civil servants, those who resigned from the services and immediately after that joined political parties. That compromises and raises questions over the impartiality of the civil services. आप एक्सपेक्ट करते हैं कि सिविल सर्वेंट जो हैं वो न्यूट्रल रहेंगे. अगर वो पॉलिटिकल पार्टी ज्वाइन करने लगेंगे इमीडिएटली आफ्टर रेजिग्नेशन, it will of course raise questions over the decisions that they have taken when they were in power. So there should be a cooling off period, 2 years or 3 years, so that they should not be allowed to join political parties or join some organization after they have resigned from services. Right? So that they do not misuse their position that they have had in the past. And last point, a strong emphasis should be created on inculcating values of neutrality, a strong emphasis should be created on inculcating values of neutrality amongst the civil servants by training them under retired and senior civil servants, by training them under retired and senior civil servants of repute. Retired and senior civil servants of repute. Basically, you should assign mentors to the new civil servants, to the young civil servants, in form of either retired or in form of senior civil servants, those who will keep guiding them in such situations. Because it is but natural that civil servants will face political challenges. Civil servants will face the lure that if I support this political party or if I support this politician, then I will have some kind of advantage in my my own career. But as a civil servant, the value of neutrality needs to be inculcated from a very young age, and that should be done with the help of senior and retired civil servants of repute, those who are considered to be people of such stature in the society that they would have an influence on the young minds or young civil servants. Is that clear? Right? So the value of impartiality and non-partisanship. Okay? Any questions? Any questions? Any questions, online students? Okay, so we'll go into a break now. After the break, I will discuss one of the most important values, which is said to be the mother of all values also in civil services, which is integrity. We'll discuss honesty and integrity as values, foundational values of civil services after the break. So I'll see you after the break. ऐसा हुआ क्या? मैंने तो I first said अच्छा, okay. ठीक है. So I made a mistake while dictating notes. I think probably would have skipped my mind or something, that I mentioned the sentence that even though both impartiality and non-partisanship are used interchangeably with each other, but I mentioned impartiality is used in the context of, but it is non-partisanship that is used in the context of political neutrality or not being seen to be side with one particular political ideology or political party. Okay, so please make that correction in your notes. I by mistake mentioned impartiality instead of non-partisanship. Okay, now let's discuss about the next and a very important value as far as the civil services are concerned, and that is the value of integrity and honesty. Value of honesty and integrity. Yes. Now, please tell me, what do you mean by honesty? We often use this word so many times. We say honesty is the best policy. What is the meaning of the term honesty? Honesty towards constitution. That is all fine. What is the meaning of honesty? How do you define honesty as a value? Huh? Sorry? Never lying. Truthfulness. और क्या होता है honesty? लोग बोलते हैं ना मैं बहुत ऑनेस्ट हूं, वो आदमी बहुत ऑनेस्ट है, इसका क्या मतलब होता है? व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ द टर्म ऑनेस्टी? Someone who's so honesty is a value that basically means truthfulness, that basically means being sincere, right? So example of honesty will be, you are at a traffic light and you decide that I will not jump the traffic light. You are being honest towards a particular rule, right? Honesty is a situation in which, let's say, ऐसा एक सिचुएशन आता है कि आपको 100 रुपए का नोट पड़ा हुआ मिल जाता है सड़क के ऊपर, आप उसको उठा लेते हैं, बट आप किसी को बता देते हैं कि भाई 100 रुपए का नोट जो है मेरे को मिला. कोई आके अगर पूछता है, लॉस्ट एंड फाउंड में कोई आके पूछता है कि यार किसी को 100 रुपए का नोट मिला, तो आप उसको दे देते हैं. दैट इज व्हाट ऑनेस्टी इज. बीइंग ट्रूथफुल, not having a deceiving character. When you're not trying to deceive someone, when you're not trying to cheat someone, that is what is honesty, right? Doing work with correct manner, intrinsic value of having truthful intentions, to fulfill work without any false intentions, not having any rogue intentions, not being working with truthful intentions is what is called as honesty. Now the question then is, so अगर हम देखें तो ये भी honesty है कि a case of Robin Hood, right? What does Robin Hood do? He takes money from the rich, he robs money from the rich, and then he distributes it to the poor. If someone asks him, why are you doing this? He says that I am not doing this for myself. I am honest myself, but I am doing this for the cause of the people. This is what is honesty, right? Where he's fiscally honest himself. Or let's say you are in an office, your seniors, your juniors, your subordinates, your colleagues, everyone is involved in corruption. They are trying to make the most of the money out of the people. You yourself say कि यार मैं नहीं करूंगा, आपको करना है करो, but I will not do this. This is what is honesty, right? But a lot of times honesty is confused with the value of integrity, right? Integrity as a word comes from the word integer, which basically means full or wholesome. Integrity as a value is a very broad value that compromises honesty as one aspect. Integrity एक ऐसी वैल्यू है जिसमें honesty एक सबसेट है. A person may be honest, but not necessarily a person of integrity. But if a person is a person of integrity, he definitely would be honest. What does that mean? See, basically, integrity is the value of showing steadfast adherence to principles and values. Steadfast adherence to principles and values irrespective of time, place, and circumstances. Integrity basically means adherence to principles and values, moral principles and values, irrespective of time, place, and circumstances. A person with integrity would never justify the act of Robin Hood, because ultimately what you are doing is wrong. You are stealing from someone and you are giving it to someone. Your intention may be correct, but what you are doing is wrong. You can't justify a wrong act if you are a person of integrity. I'll give you one more example. Irrespective of time, place and circumstances, आप हमेशा अपनी values और principles को ऊपर रखेंगे, चाहे आपको उससे personal gain हो रहा हो या personal loss हो रहा हो. You are at a traffic light. There is no traffic policeman. This is 4 o'clock in the night. If you even jump the traffic light, no one is going to say anything to you. Now there are two reasons because of which you may not jump the traffic light. One is that when someone is watching me, कैमरा लगा हुआ है, तो मुझे ट्रैफिक लाइट जंप नहीं करनी चाहिए. दिस इज ऑनेस्टी. आप ऑनेस्टी दिखा रहे हो, यू आर ऑनेस्ट. यू से दैट यार ट्रैफिक लाइट जंप नहीं करनी चाहिए, कैमरा लगा हुआ है, कोई देख लेगा. इंटेग्रिटी इज when you show honesty and when you stick to your principles and values even when no one is watching. Integrity comes from within. Honesty के लिए हमेशा कोई ना कोई एक्सटर्नल कांस्टेबल होगा या एक्सटर्नल आदमी होगा जिसके लिए आप दुनिया के लिए ऑनेस्ट होते हो. But you are a person of integrity for yourself because you believe that I will not compromise on my values or principles come whatever may. That is what is called as integrity. Honesty, on the other hand, is for the world. So basically, integrity is the quality of being honest. Even when no one is watching. जब आपको कोई ऑब्जर्व नहीं कर रहा, जब आपको कोई देख नहीं रहा, तब भी जब आप ऑनेस्ट होते हैं विदाउट एनी एक्सटर्नल फोर्स, then it is called as integrity. In an examination, the invigilator goes out for a few moments. Your friend asks you कि यार थोड़ा सा आंसर दिखा दे, मैं भी पास हो जाऊंगा. अब आपके पास दो ऑप्शन है, या तो आपको पता है कि यार इन्विजिलेटर तो जा चुका है, कोई देखने वाला नहीं है, मैं दिखा देता हूं मेरे फ्रेंड को, उसकी हेल्प हो जाएगी. और दूसरा है यू से कि नहीं, लेट माई फ्रेंड फेल इफ इट इज द केस एंड लेट हिम लर्न हिज ओन लेसन एंड लेट हिम प्रिपेयर हार्ड नेक्स्ट टाइम बिकॉज आई बिलीव दैट वी शुड नॉट बी चीटिंग इन द एग्जामिनेशन. इट इज अगेंस्ट माई वैल्यूज एंड प्रिंसिपल्स. That is what is called as honesty. So irrespective of time, irrespective of place, and irrespective of circumstances, you will continue to follow moral values and principles, even when no one is watching. Integrity का एक और मतलब है. It means consistency in one's actions, thoughts, and behavior. आप इसलिए ट्रैफिक लाइट नहीं जंप करोगे. यू विल नॉट जंप ट्रैफिक लाइट बिकॉज you believe it is wrong to do so, not because someone is watching. So your thought itself is an honest thought. When there is consistency between your thoughts, your actions and your behavior, that is when it is called as integrity. आप मानते तो कुछ और हो. You believe that it is okay to jump traffic light, but in action you don't do so when the policeman is standing there. But अगर policeman हट जाएगा तो आप jump कर लोगे. That is what is called as integrity. Integrity is something which is very internal to a person. Honesty is something which is imposed by the society. You are honest for the world, but you are a person of integrity for yourself. So honesty is a sub-value of integrity. A person to be a person of integrity has to be honest in his actions, thought and behavior, not because of some external force, but because that person believes very strongly in that value and that principle. On the other hand, honesty is only a subset. अगर आप जाके चोरी करते हैं और आप जाके एक्सेप्ट कर लेते हैं मैंने चोरी की है, तो आप ऑनेस्ट हैं. आप ऑनेस्ट ही तो हैं. यू आर बीइंग ट्रूथफुल. बट एक आदमी जो इंटेग्रिटी का आदमी होगा वो चोरी करने के बारे में सोचेगा भी नहीं. अ पर्सन हु इज अ पर्सन ऑफ इंटेग्रिटी वुड नॉट इवन थिंक अबाउट कमिटिंग अ थेफ्ट. हिज मॉरल रडार वुड बी सच दैट दैट पर्सन वुड थिंक दैट नो, इट इज नॉट करेक्ट टू steal, it is not correct to be robbing someone, irrespective of whether I will get punished or not. Honesty is, I have committed the act, now I'm accepting it. That is what honesty is. But integrity is much more than that. Integrity, see, आप honest तब होते हो जब आपने कुछ कर दिया, आप उसको accept करते हो तो honest है, right? You accept the situation. But integrity, on the other hand, is something that you have even before committing an act. Even while committing an act and before committing an act, you apply your moral principles and values. That is what is called as integrity. So please write down. Often honesty and integrity are considered as synonymous to each other. Often honesty and integrity are considered as synonymous to each other, but there is a basic difference between the two values. Honesty refers to the quality of being truthful. Honesty refers to the quality of being truthful and sincere in one's conduct. Of being truthful and sincere in one's conduct. Full stop. It is an external concept. And does not guarantee highest standards of behavior. Full stop. On the other hand, integrity is the mother of all values. And refers to steadfast adherence. To highest standards of behavior, and refers to steadfast adherence to highest standards of behavior, and consistency in one's actions, thoughts and behavior, irrespective of time, place and circumstances. Integrity, next line. Integrity is a three-step process. That involves the following. First, choosing the right course of conduct. Second, acting consistently with the choice, even when it is inconvenient, or unprofitable to do so. Even when it is inconvenient or unprofitable to do so. even when it is inconvenient or unprofitable to do so. And third, openly declaring one's stance, on issues. Openly declaring one's stance on issues. ठीक है? Now please write down honesty as a subset of integrity. Honesty as a subset of integrity. Integrity implies a number of values. Integrity implies a number of values, including reliability, comma, consistency in one's principles, and values, and honesty. Therefore, full stop. Therefore, one can say honesty is a necessary, though not a sufficient criterion. Honesty is a necessary, though not a sufficient criterion for integrity. बेसिकली केवल ऑनेस्ट होने से आप इंटीग्रिटी के आदमी नहीं बन जाते. दैट इज नेसेसरी बट दैट इज नॉट सफिशिएंट. आर यू गेटिंग व्हाट माय पॉइंट इज? ठीक है, प्लीज राइट डाउन. टू बी अ पर्सन ऑफ इंटेग्रिटी, one has to be honest. But merely being honest does not make an individual a person of integrity. Does not make one a person of integrity. तो ऑनेस्टी और इंटेग्रिटी में फर्क यह है कि ऑनेस्टी बोलता है कि आप खून करके आइए, आप एक्सेप्ट कर लीजिए कि आपने खून किया है. आप चोरी करें, आपने ब्राइबरी में आप इन्वॉल्व थे, यू वर इन्वॉल्व इन टेकिंग ब्राइब फॉर कमिटिंग एन एक्ट, यू एक्सेप्टेड दैट आई कमिटेड द एक्ट ऑफ ब्राइबरी और द ऑफेंस ऑफ ब्राइबरी, I took a bribe. This is being honest. But a person of integrity will not even consider taking a bribe because his conduct, his thoughts, and his entire behavior, his actions, all are consistent with the moral values and the principles that the individual believes in. If you say something and if you do something, अगर आपका भाई खून कर दे तो आप डिफरेंट स्टैंडर्ड्स लगाना शुरू कर देंगे. आप जस्टिफाई करना शुरू कर देंगे कि नहीं, हो सकता है बेचारे से गलती हो गई हो सकता है he may have committed some kind of a mistake, it may have been committed due to some kind of error of judgment, it may have been committed due to some reason where he was lured to do this. But a person of integrity would apply the same principles that he applies to everyone else, to himself as well. That is what is integrity. So integrity is when you hold yourself to the same standards as you hold the other persons. when you hold other people to the same standards as you hold yourself to, or when you hold yourself to the same standards as you hold the others to, that is what is called as integrity. आप अपने को भी उन्हीं मापदंड और उन्हीं स्टैंडर्ड्स के ऊपर जज करते हैं अपने एक्शंस को, जिसके ऊपर आप दूसरे के लिए करेंगे. ये नहीं कि दूसरे ने किया तो चोरी और हमने किया तो आप उसको जस्टिफाई कर दें. समझ रहे हैं? दिस इज व्हाट इज कॉल्ड एज इंटेग्रिटी, where irrespective of time, space, circumstances, you will continue to show the same principles. So when Kiran Bedi says that I don't care, this is Prime Minister's vehicle or whether this is a common man's vehicle, if it is parked wrongly, I will issue a ticket to it. That is what she did. There was a car of ऐसा नहीं था कि प्राइम मिनिस्टर की खुद की गाड़ी आ गई थी या प्राइम मिनिस्टर उसमें बैठी हुई थी. फिर किसी भी आईपीएस ऑफिसर की इतनी हिम्मत नहीं होगी. समझ रहे हैं? वो कितना ही बड़ा इंटेग्रिटी की बातें करता हो. समझ रहे हैं? सही तो यही है ना, रियलिटी ये है. बट प्राइम मिनिस्टर के कॉन्वॉय की एक गाड़ी थी खान मार्केट के अंदर. शी रियलाइज दैट इट इज रॉन्गली पार्क्ड, शी इशूड अ टिकट टू इट विदाउट केयरिंग. ड्राइवर बोलता रहा कि मैडम ये तो प्राइम मिनिस्टर की कॉन्वॉय की गाड़ी है, क्या कर रहे हो? तो आई डोंट केयर. आपके लिए भी वही प्रिंसिपल है जो कि आम आदमी के लिए है. अगर आप ट्रैफिक लाइट जंप करेंगे तो आपको भी वही सजा मिलेगी जो कि एक आम आदमी को मिलती है. दिस इज व्हाट इंटेग्रिटी इज. आई विल नॉट क्रिएट न्यू स्टैंडर्ड्स फॉर न्यू पीपल, double standards for different kind of people. That is not integrity, right? Now this is what we need to understand. Now see again what you need to do. सारी वैल्यूज जो भी अभी तक हमने डिस्कस करी हैं, you need to find examples from your own life. अपनी खुद की लाइफ से and from the lives of public servants, freedom fighters, various political leaders, civil servants. उनकी जिंदगी से आपको एग्जाम्पल्स निकालने पड़ेंगे इंटेग्रिटी के. Lal Bahadur Shastri, when he used to be the Prime Minister of the country, there is a folklore that is popular about him, that when he used to write letters to his grandson, he would purposefully make sure that he should not be writing it from the pen or the stationery that has been provided to him by the office of the Prime Minister, because he said that I am writing my personal letters. तो मैं अपना खुद का पेन यूज करूंगा. Why should I be using the government property for writing the letters to my grandson in my personal capacity? If you tell this to politicians today, they will laugh at it. They will say, अरे ये तो सब बातें हैं कहने की. ऐसा नहीं है. We had politicians, we had leaders, we had civil servants in the past, those who have shown integrity of the highest order, where they were offered positions, where they were offered some kind of advantages, but they refused to take them up because they believed that it will compromise on their integrity, not because people will see it in the wrong light. वो इसलिए नहीं कर रहे कि लोगों को कैसा लगेगा, लोग क्या बोलेंगे. आप ऑनेस्टी तब करते हैं जब आप दुनिया के लिए करते हैं. बट यू आर अ पर्सन ऑफ इंटेग्रिटी व्हेन यू डू इट फॉर योरसेल्फ, so that you can go and see yourself in the mirror at the end of the day. That is what integrity is. A person with integrity can go and look at himself in the mirror, himself or herself in the mirror without any kind of fear, because उसको पता है उसने कुछ गलत नहीं किया. But a person who is not a person of integrity will always have sleepless nights, will always be worried. मेरे खिलाफ करप्शन केस पता चल गया तो, मेरा वो wrong doing पता चल गया तो, what if someone will come to know that I was involved in so and so, what if someone will come to know that I was involved in so and so. They are always worried. A person of integrity is honest and true to himself. That is the meaning of the value of integrity. Now see, you can also understand why integrity is such an important or a significant value for the civil services. Significance of integrity. But before that, Can you give me some examples of integrity from the lives of civil servants, public servants, politicians, political leaders? Yes. Kalam's denial of NASA's offer. I don't know about it, so I can't comment. Yes. Integrity. Any example from your life when you showed integrity? You refuse to show answer to your friend in the examination. ठीक है, सबसे कॉमन, सब हर कोई यही लिख कर आता है कि सर मेरा फ्रेंड तड़प रहा था, मर रहा था, उसने मुझसे बहुत आंसर मांगने की कोशिश करी, मैंने नहीं दिखाया. अब ये जस्टिफाई करना भी जरूरी है कि आपने जेलसी की वजह से तो नहीं ऐसा है कि उसको डिनाई किया, या ठीक है अच्छा है फेल हो जाए, मजा आएगा देखते हैं फेल. हाँ, दिस इज वन कॉमन एग्जाम्पल दैट एवरीवन गिव्स. ट्राई टू थिंक ऑफ बेटर एग्जाम्पल्स. मैम बताइए. That was the main reason. Jealousy. Huh? You wanted your friend to fail. You wanted to teach him a lesson. You were playing, he was playing before the exam. You were not. So you wanted him to learn the lesson. That's not integrity. Your thoughts are telling you कि यार गलत, तुम्हें भी पता है गलत है. देखो, एक person with integrity knows कि मैं गलत कर रहा हूं कि सही कर रहा हूं. समझ रहे हैं? क्योंकि इंटेग्रिटी का जो आदमी होता है ना, उसकी कॉन्शियंस की वो सुनता है, और जो उसकी कॉन्शियंस उसको बोलती है, वॉट एवर द कॉन्शियंस सेज इज कंसिस्टेंट विद द थॉट्स एंड विद द एक्शंस एंड द बिहेवियर ऑफ दैट इंडिविजुअल. यस. एग्जाम्पल्स मैम, एग्जाम्पल्स ऑफ इंटेग्रिटी. हैव यू एवर शोन इंटेग्रिटी? I refused my friend to do tripling in bike. Why was that? Is it because you thought the police cops will catch you? If that's the case, then that's not integrity. आपने अपने दोस्त को बोला कि यार पुलिस वाले पकड़ लेंगे. नहीं, वैसे पुलिस वाले नहीं होते तो हम चला लेते. Yes, that's an example of integrity. I was playing a cricket match. I was on the boundary. I took the catch. My foot was touching the boundary. No one could see it. But I myself went and told that no, this is a 6. It's not a catch. Right? That is what is integrity. Right? I knew. My mother left me alone at home. She told me don't eat sweets. My father came and told me eat sweets, don't worry, I will replace the new box. I refused my father that no, I will not eat because my mom has told me not to do so, and I don't want to be betraying her confidence and trust in me. I believe in the value of honesty above everything else. That is what is integrity. Yes. Integrity towards shopkeeper when he returned me more rupees. Okay. Sachin Tendulkar walking out of stadium on being out despite umpire's decision of not out. Okay. Shanmugam Manjunath exposed the scam on petrol pumps and due to that he got shot. Okay. Any other examples? Personal examples? Examples from personal life. मैम कोई example जब आपने integrity show की हो? देखो यूपीएससी expect करती है कि अगर आपको नहीं भी आता, आपने नहीं भी शो करी हो, तो आप एग्जाम में तो लिखो, और ऐसा लिखो कि बिलीव हो जाए एग्जामिनर को, है ना. यूपीएससी एक्सपेक्ट्स, आप भले ही ना हो इंटेग्रिटी वाले, बट एग्जाम में तो दिखाना पड़ेगा मार्क्स लाने के लिए. यस. मुझे चांदी की पायल मिली थी, मैंने उसे ओनर को दे दी. ओके. जयप्रकाश नारायण पॉलिटिकल लीडर फॉट फॉर डेमोक्रेसी. ओके. Dhoni called back Ian Bell after the run out. There was one instance that took place in 2012. The batsman thought that over has been completed. He was walking. He thought that the umpire has given a boundary. The throw came in from the boundary. The batsman was run out. Mahendra Singh Dhoni called back the opposition batsman and said that no, you were not out. You were thinking that the boundary has happened. So that is integrity. Adhering to the spirit or the value with which you play cricket, and that is that you play it with sportsman spirit, right? So steadfast adherence to it, even though you know that you will end up winning the match, right? Okay? So these are examples of integrity and honesty. Now please write down next thing. Why integrity is important. Significance of integrity for civil servants. So please write down. Significance of integrity for civil servants. First, integrity implies, civil servants enjoy wide discretionary powers. वही सेम बात जो हम पहले बहुत बार से बोलते जा रहे हैं. Civil servants enjoy wide discretionary powers, and in the absence of integrity, they may end up using the same, and in the absence of integrity, they may end up using the same for their personal benefits. They may end up using the same for their personal benefits. Second, it helps in building trust of the citizens. It helps in building trust of the citizens. It helps in building trust of the citizens in the functioning of the system. In the functioning of the system. In the functioning of the system. Next. Without integrity, corruption thrives in the society. Without integrity, corruption thrives in the society. Corruption thrives in the society, and other values also get compromised. And other values also get compromised in adverse and challenging situations. In adverse and challenging situations. Next point. Civil servants are role models of the society. Civil servants are role models for the society, and therefore it is expected that they will show staunch adherence to various values and principles. They will show staunch adherence to various values and principles. ठीक है, and lastly लिख सकते हैं, for effective and efficient utilization of limited resources. For efficient and effective utilization of limited resources, it is important that civil servants show integrity. It is important that civil servants show integrity. It is important that civil servants show integrity. ठीक है? Now, please write down ways to inculcate integrity. अब कोई बोले सर ऑनेस्टी कैसे इनकलकेट करेंगे? अगर भाई आप इंटेग्रिटी इनकलकेट कर लेंगे तो ऑनेस्टी अपने आप इनकलकेट हो जाएगी. Ways to inculcate integrity. Ways to inculcate integrity in civil services. Please write down. First, assigning mentors to young civil servants at early stages, assigning mentors to young civil servants at early stages of their career, so that they know how to react in adverse situations. So that they know how to react in adverse situations. So that they know how to react in adverse situations. Next. Appropriate punishment and reward mechanism. For civil servants embroiled in corruption, and showing exemplary behavior. Next, enactment and adherence to strict principles. Enactment and adherence to a strict code of conduct. To a strict code of conduct. Next, in creating a code of ethics, that should guide the behavior. Of civil servants. In situations where the law is silent. Next, reforms should be introduced in the recruitment process. So that candidates are checked. With respect to their moral standing and values. So basically, this introduction of civil services paper 4 of ethics and integrity is the step in that direction. Yes. Next, please write down. inclusion of value-based training. Inclusion of value-based training. Inclusion of value-based training and curriculum. And curriculum in the training methodology, in the training methodology of young officers. In the training methodology of young officers. Okay? So with this, we have completed the topic of the foundational values of civil services, but we have one more thing to cover, and that is the Nolan Committee values. We will have a look at the values that were provided by the Nolan Committee in US, in UK, sorry. Okay. So let's just have a look at the Nolan Committee as well. See, in UK, there was a committee that was created to improve the standards in the public life. Okay, and this committee gave 7 principles that should be followed by the public servants in public life. What are these values that were highlighted by the Nolan Committee? Let's have a look at that as well. Also, I'll just show you some of the questions also. आप देखेंगे कि 60 to 70% of your papers in the main examination, जो आपका ethics का पेपर है, उसमें foundational values का कितना रोल है? One is that they will ask straightforward questions, like they asked this year. They will ask you which are the most important values for you as what you think a civil servant should possess. Then you will have to give examples and justification why these values only are important. Second is that they may give you specific values in the question, and they will ask you, what do you understand by this value? Give some examples from your life, or justify the importance of these values with the help of the life of some civil servant or some public servant, right? And then third is, जब आप लोगों को case studies मिलेंगी, when you will get case studies in the mains examination, the answer to those case studies also you will be able to attempt only when you know what are the conflicting values. I'll give you an example. Let's say that your boss has told you that there is a report that has come on, और बहुत बार ऐसी case studies आई हैं, आपके सामने एक report आती है कि एक डैम बन रहा है, पर उस डैम के अंदर there are some difficulty, there are some technical issues that have been found, and someone has recommended that you do not inaugurate the dam, or you do not start the dam, or you do not start the bridge, because it can cause a lot of damage. There can be a lot of it may lead to a catastrophe as well. But on the other hand, the political party has already promised, the prime minister is coming, let's say, for inaugurating that particular dam or bridge. Now you are the one who is in charge. What will you do? अगर आप प्राइम मिनिस्टर को आने से मना कर देते हैं, रोक देते हैं, if the event gets cancelled, then in that case, of course, it will cost politically to the prime minister, to the party in power. It will be a lot of political damage for them, right? You may even end up losing your job. Disciplinary action may be taken against you, and so many other things. तो उस समय हो सकता है कि आप बोलें कि no, let me just go ahead with and do it, whatever is there, because at least the prime minister will be happy. But then on the other hand, if you take an action, then also it's a problem. Because what if the bridge comes down or the dam comes down? If the fears that have been expressed by the expert committee on that particular dam or that bridge are actually going to come true, then who's going to be responsible for the loss of life that is going to happen? Are you ready to bear that weight on your conscience that it is because of my inaction that so many lives were lost? So it's a very tricky situation. There is one value of adherence to what your seniors are saying, rule of law, etc., political neutrality, and the other one is your own conscience and the value of integrity. Which one will you go by? So a number of times in examination you will find conflicting values at play. That's why ethical dilemma gets created. Your son is appearing in the interview and you are in the interview board. Now you know that your son is a very deserving candidate. But should you be taking part in the interview any longer, or should you be reclusing yourself from the interview? Is the question. Your boss calls you up and says that यार मेरे बेटे का अभी एप्लीकेशन आएगा, उसको अप्रूव कर देना. अब आप बॉस की सुनोगे या आप अपने मन की सुनोगे? Where you yourself think that it is wrong to do so. So there will be conflicting values at play a lot of times in the case studies, and there also these values will come in very handy, where you can mention that because as a civil servant I am expected to be a person of integrity, I am expected to show the value of integrity. I would not buckle down under the pressure of my senior who is telling me to appoint his son or his relative in that particular position where I have the discretionary power, right? So these are the things that you need to keep in mind where values will come in handy. So what are the 7 principles of public life that were highlighted by the Nolan Committee? Nolan Committee said these are the values or principles that should be shown by any public servant in public life. First and foremost, it says holders of public office should be selfless. They should show selflessness. They should always put the interest of the public over their own and private interest. That is what is called as selflessness. Okay. So it says that holders of public office should take decisions solely in terms of public interest. They should not do so in order to gain financial or other material benefits for themselves, their family, or for their friends. If you know that this particular decision is going to cause harm to the public and is going to cause benefit to me, you are being selfish in your approach. Any civil servant or any public servant is expected to be selfless in their approach. They would always try to promote the interest of the people or the public over their own self-interest. Second value that Nolan Committee of course talks about is integrity. And Nolan Committee ने integrity को बहुत ही ज़्यादा narrow sense में define किया. It has defined integrity in a very narrow sense, where Nolan Committee says holders of public office should not place themselves under any financial or other obligation to outside individuals or organizations that might influence them in the performance of their official duty. See, what it is trying to say is, let's say you attend some event which has been organized by an industry, right? Reliance has organized some event. The owner of Reliance, Ambani, calls you up. He says that why don't you please attend this event and make some kind of a speech to our employees. They will also feel motivated. You have done such great work in public service. You please come and make a speech. So you'd say, okay, theek hai, no issues. I'm just going and motivating the people. There is nothing wrong in it. When you land up there, you made such an arousing speech that the entire, employees force of Reliance got very motivated, and even Anil Ambani or Mukesh Ambani sitting there, and they got very impressed too. Mukesh Ambani says that, see, I am so impressed with what you have done, and this is just purely out of my love and purely as a token of appreciation. Please take the keys to this particular new car. There will be a brand new car, BMW, that will be standing in front of you, and he will say that you please take it and accept it as a gift from my end. Now, what you are basically doing is that you are putting yourself under some kind of an obligation to an outside individual or an organization. Now, let's say day after tomorrow, a tender is supposed to be allocated, and Reliance is also one of the bidders. And then let's say you may not have taken decision in favor of Reliance because you were given a car by them, but you may take it purely out of the fact that Reliance is the most competent bidder, or they have made the highest bid. But questions will always be raised that you may have extended favor to Reliance, you may have done something for Reliance because they gave you this car. So therefore, integrity is defined in a very narrow manner by Nolan Committee, where it says that holders of public office should not place them under any kind of financial or any other obligation to any outside individual or organization that may influence their functioning in the performance of their official duties. और अगर ऐसा है तो आप जाके डिक्लेयर कर दीजिए. See, even the code of conduct for civil services says that you can accept gifts, but only till a certain value. And when you accept gifts from the outsiders, then you should declare it to the government, so that everything is transparent and everything is clear out there in the public. Everyone knows what is being done. Is that clear? So this is the value of selfness and integrity. Then the next value that we need to keep in mind is the value of objectivity. We have also discussed about it earlier. It is in carrying out public business, including making public appointments, awarding contracts, recommending individuals for rewards, benefits. Holders of public office should make choices on the basis of merit, on the basis of facts, on the basis of rational analysis, not on the basis of their own biases or preconceived notions. Accountability. What is accountability? Being accountable for your actions. You were given the responsibility of implementing a project in your district. Responsibility is कि आपने वो project implement कर दिया. Accountability is after that project has been implemented, are you open to questioning? You should be open to questioning and answering, where people will ask you that why did you award contract to only this bidder? Why not to this particular company for the construction of this project? Why did you choose to use this material, not that material? Why did you choose this particular vendor for your raw material, not this particular vendor? Why did you choose this design for the bridge, not this design? This is called as accountability. Accountability is answerability for your actions. And see, accountability, और हम accountability के बारे में बाद में discuss करेंगे, but accountability without any kind of enforcement mechanism is a waste. Accountability का कोई मतलब नहीं रह जाता अगर कोई enforceability mechanism नहीं है. Let's say I took a decision and I awarded a contract to a organization which was close to me for a particular project in the government. But someone raises a question also and I say कि हाँ किया, and no action can be taken against me for acting in an arbitrary manner, then it is no accountability. Accountability is not just being answerable for your actions. Accountability also means that you should be held accountable and you should be punished in case if there is an arbitrary action that is shown on your behalf. So accountability says holders of public office are accountable for their decisions, for their actions to the public, and must submit themselves to whatever scrutiny is appropriate to their office. Multiple तरीके होते हैं accountability के. Horizontal accountability, there could be CVC, Lokpal, judiciary in place. Vertical accountability, one example that you can give is social audit. We will discuss about accountability later in detail, but for now you can understand answerability for one's actions and decisions while holding public office to the people, where people may scrutinize your decisions and actions and ask you why did you do so or why did you not do so. Next, very, very important value is the value of openness. You should show openness in your functioning. You should not try to be secretive in your functioning. You should not try to hide information from the people. So they often say that openness should be the norm and not secrecy. But in India, we adopt the other way. We try to be secretive about everything. We say that no, in divulging information would be against public interest. How can divulging information be against public interest? Just a few days back, there was a very wonderful article, I think day before yesterday or yesterday, something like that. In Hindu, there was an interesting article that was published about how this closed envelope or sealed envelope judgments and this entire functioning of the court that takes place in form of sealed envelope. गवर्नमेंट को कोर्ट बोलती है कि आप सील्ड एनवेलप के अंदर हमें बता दीजिए कि किस रीजन से आपने डिसीजन लिया, हम लोगों को डिस्क्लोज नहीं करेंगे. क्यों नहीं करेंगे? गवर्नमेंट शुड बी ओपन टू स्क्रूटनी ऑफ द पीपल एट ऑल द टाइम्स. बिकॉज इफ यू आर नॉट, अगर आपने कुछ गलत नहीं भी किया, इवन इफ यू हैव नॉट डन एनीथिंग रॉन्ग, people will always assume that you have done something due to ulterior motives, right? So openness, holders of public office should be as open as possible about all the decisions and the actions that they take. They should give reasons for their decisions and restrict information only when the wider public interest clearly demands. No decision should be taken without any kind of justification or any reasoning that is available in the public domain. Various ways of promoting openness and transparency, we will discuss about that. RTI, or say for example publishing information suo motu on your website, allowing yourself to be open to social audits, all of those ways are ensuring openness in governance. Then of course honesty, we have discussed about it. Honesty is holders of public office have a duty to declare any private interest relating to their public duties and to take steps to resolve any conflicts arising in a way that protects the public interest. Honesty is that your son, you know, is going to appear in front of you in the UPSC interview. You are the chairperson of one of the boards and your son, by chance, aapne kiya nahi, but he's appearing in front of you in the UPSC interview. You should tell all the board members and the chairperson of the UPSC that, sir, my son is appearing in front of me. I don't think it will be fair that I should be conducting the interview. I will recluse from the interview. That is what is called as honesty. Declaring your private interest or declaring what is called as conflict of interest, where your private interest is at loggerheads with the public interest. Few years back, the Chief Justice of India reclused from a particular case, from hearing a particular case, because he believed that he has some kind of relationship with one particular entity or a party in that case. That is what is called as honesty. Okay. And lastly, in public space, civil servants are expected to show and promote these principles by example, leading by example. If you are Prime Minister, if you are Chief Minister, if you are DC, if you are Principal Secretary, it is expected that you will show all these values, because you are role model for the society, you are leader of the society, that you will exemplify all these values. इसको याद करने का best तरीका है, you can remember it this way. This is the way you can remember it. O Sahil or Sahilo, whatever way you want to remember it, right? You can remember these values. Accountability, honesty, integrity, leadership, openness. These are the 7 values or principles that were laid down by the Nolan Committee. Okay. Selflessness, integrity, objectivity, accountability, openness, honesty, leadership. इसको नोट डाउन कर लीजिएगा बाद में, और ये खुद अपने वर्ड्स में लिखिएगा, या तो इन वर्ड्स में लिखिएगा या अपने खुद के वर्ड्स में लिखिएगा, इनकी मतलब क्या है, डेफिनेशन क्या है इन वैल्यूज की, एंड ट्राई टू फाइंड एग्जांपल्स इन रियल लाइफ, फ्रॉम योर लाइफ, फ्रॉम द लाइफ ऑफ द सिविल सर्वेंट्स, फ्रॉम द लाइफ ऑफ द पब्लिक सर्वेंट्स, ऑफ फाउंडेशनल वैल्यूज. Right? This is something that you people need to do. UPSC straight away साफ ये भी क्वेश्चन पूछ सकती है, what do you understand by different foundational values of civil services? Tell the various principles that were laid down by the Nolan Committee in UK. वो पूछ सकते हैं आपसे, ठीक है? So this is all for today. When we will meet in the next class, that is tomorrow, we have a class tomorrow, we will discuss about aptitude for civil services and relationship of aptitude and foundational values, and then we will move on to talk about the various ethical dilemmas and the various issues, ethical issues that crop up in governance. After that, we will move on to the topic of code of conduct and code of ethics. Okay, any questions? Any online questions? देखिए ये सारी चीजें रिवाइज करने की ज्यादा हैं, एंड हाउ यू कीप अप्लाइंग देम while you are reading newspapers. Try to find and extract examples. That is how you will secure marks, because ethics में the scope of difference or margin in marks is huge. You can make a huge difference to your overall score if you score well in ethics. People end up scoring 140 also at times. So sky is the limit in ethics, and it all depends upon how you write the answers, how much personal touch you bring in your answers, and that will only happen with practice. Okay, ये notes upload की बात नहीं है, download कर लो यार, मैंने भी तो तुम्हारे सामने डाउनलोड किए हैं अभी. Just search Nolan Committee report on Google और आपको ये लिंक आ जाएगा, summary of Nolan Committee's report. ठीक है, thank you so much. I'll see you in the next.